I drank delicious water in my awesome USC Fight On cup for liquid. And now it's time for Day 9 Daily 489, Part 2, where we learn to be a better gamer. That's good. I flubbed that exactly as hard as I wanted to. Oh yeah, I remember what we were talking about. Liquid TaeJa. Screw this, I'm going to tell a story. My ice tray does not ever want to let the ice out. That's the reason I was away for so long, is I was just trying to, like, bang my ice tray as hard as I literally bludgeon my kitchen counter, and then ice just shoots off, and maybe 3 shards land on the counter, and then like 7 just spray all over the ground. Then I'm like, it's water, it'll melt, it won't bring any ants, screw it. And finally I managed to get, listen, you can hear the ice? Oh, that was a stupid move. Now I have water on my keyboard. Alright, let's just do the daily. I wasn't born to do this. Cool. We're talking a lot about Liquid TaeJa and how he's able to achieve such a high win rate in the Terran vs. Zerg matchup. We saw so far 2 really interesting interesting moves that Liquid TaeJa did after he did a 2-Rax play. The first one being that he left his Marines outside the front for just a little bit of time. And then he went home. Then when he got 8 Marines, he immediately moved out again, and we go, aha! He is advancing forward because there's absolutely no threat of there being any speed Zerglings. And we're actually going to see TaeJa literally chill here until maybe around 9 minutes. Or excuse me, 9:30. And you'll note that this is a time when a Zerg player would ordinarily be just happy spreading creep like crazy, like a madman. TaeJa is following this up with, I would describe this as not a standard build. Most commonly, players would be doing something like Fast Hellion with 3 racks, or they would be going Fast Hellion with 1 racks and be adding on 2 more. But again, let's steer away from builds and think concepts. How can I be as in his face as possible and be as present at the front line as possible? With the caveat being, I can also get away. Obviously, you could build tanks and just march into the front line, or build Thors and march into the front line, but you can't retreat. We want to be able to stay in control without trying to kill stuff and without dying as well. So, we get Stim for that speed, and we get Hellions for that speed. And watch how nicely this lines up. This is one of the reasons why people go Hellion into Stim Marine Medevac. It doesn't matter what opening you necessarily do. Just doing that as a fairly early play is going to be quite effective. I just want to come back here so we can see what happened with these Marines. Since I just updated my graphics card, that should look real smooth. Oh my god. Alright, so here's the moment where we're just outside his front. And we can once again identify that there's slowlings, and this is one of the reasons why we push out and hope that he's making slowlings. We can always get a favorable exchange with our Marines versus slowlings. Always, always. Unless we're awful. Tis an exception. So, I thought this play was pretty cool. What's nice about the fact that TaeJa built up so many Marines at the start is that, okay, I'm going to show this in a weird order. I'm going to go back and forth from 9:30 to now a couple of times. So first I want to point out that the goal that TaeJa is going for is to get a starport and then get 2 medevacs out and do a little pushy push. That's what he wants to do. That's kind of a standard place that we want to go to. So then I'm going to stop here again. So that's his overall goal. We also, as an overall goal, want to get up some reactors. So that's cool. So a very standard play. If we have control in the middle of the map, that's a good time for us to build reactors. Just in general, if we have control, we can build reactors. So again, I want to note the interesting stuff that's going on right now. This creep spread, we've left Zerg alone for about a minute. And already his creep spread is starting to extend out quite far. Literally a minute. Excuse me. So he's advancing forward, picking off the creep tumors. Yeah, a nice little control play. Sure, we can shoot at queens, that's nifty, but we're mainly looking for opportunities to kill off all dem creep tumors. And now we have our barracks done. We almost have our stim. We're getting ready to get our medevacs. And I think pretty comfortably we can conclude that there likely is a third base down here. As a general rule, if a Zerg is unaffected, he can get his Spire tech, or he can get his layer tech out by 10 minutes. If a Zerg is completely untouched, he can get his layer tech out by 10 minutes. And when I say out, that means like a Mutalisk has popped out and has started to move towards your base. About as early as a Zerg can do that is 10 minutes. If you put some pressure on the Zerg at the start of the game with some Marines, that delays it by about a minute. Some general rules. And if he tries to go for a third base, that delays it by about 2 minutes. So, in general, a Zerg who has had Marine pressure and then goes and takes a third will get his layer tech up by 13 minutes. Some good stuff. So, as TaeJa, we can get this read that we don't need to be building turrets quite yet. Just no threat at all. Something that's kind of cute, I think that many people know this familiar timing. You build as many Hellions as you can out of your factory, 6 to 8 or so. Looks like we went with 6. Give it to medevacs, and then when that factory's done with Hellions, then we back up and build tanks. The basic idea is that we have our fast units, our Hellion, medevac, Marine combo can get some control for us. But what I thought was particularly interesting is the delay on these engineering bays. This is quite a late time to start these. TaeJa's play is not going to revolve around getting some big-ass late game army. He's going to be relying on these cute aggression tactics in the middle. And I also want to emphasize that that's a huge shift for Terran. What? Most Terrans are doing this thing where they're like, I don't know what made me think of this. You know how cats will sometimes, like, they do this? That's what most Terrans do for the first 15 minutes of the game. They're like, I'm going to build Hellions, and I'm just going to take the watchtower. That's about it, right? And then, after that 15 minutes, that's when they go absolutely apeshit and have 3 Marines and tanks and 3 bases, and they're just drilling with their mega late game army. What we're going to see TaeJa do... yeah, so it's kind of like this sort of passive thing, and then it's mega aggression. TaeJa's going to swap them. He's going to go mega aggression for a while, and then he's going to back up and be a little bit more of this sort of thing. So I hope you never forget that, because if you do, there's something wrong with your memory. Because as anyone from the internet knows, anything related to cats just sort of sticks in the brain a little stronger. So notice the cool timing. Hey, we're doing this big-ass medevac push. And it's 13 minutes. This is about as early as Mutalisks could come out, or as Infestors could come out. Notice that where are his things? Where the hell is his Baneling Nest? Ah, there it is. Notice his Baneling Nest, it's not quite done at 13 minutes. Notice that his Infestation Pit, where the hell is it? Ah. Notice his Infestation Pit, it isn't quite done. This is why I emphasized that timing of 10 minutes is if he's left alone. Add on a minute if he's going 2 base, fast layer, and you did your early 2 racks. Add on another 2 or so minutes if he took a 3rd base before then. Because it all helps delay that layer, and why this timing is good. This is a very safe time for TaeJa to move out and build no turrets. He is building no freaking turrets. None. No turrets whatsoever. Why? Because he's going to find out with this push if Mutalisks are out. Hoo! Also, it's kind of impressive that TaeJa is 30 food ahead. Well, that's no big deal. Shine actually knows how to manage this situation quite well. We will see him do as such. So, I keep forgetting ever since I had this tooth fixed that I shouldn't chew ice because it hurts. Oh, day 9. Day 9. You are so foolish. So once again, TaeJa's big target with this attack is creep spread. He does this drop in the main, and if you look at the timing of this, so again, I want to emphasize damage versus control. If we first moved forward with this, like if we took this attack and then moved forward, and then we did this drop, that's a damage play. We're hoping to distract him with the push at the front, and then do this stuff at the back. This is a control play. Sending the drop in first, forcing him to reposition these units, and you can see all the units rolling. This allows us to maintain control. We're killing off creep spread. Obviously, we have some issues where we're going to lose some units, but still, much of the focus for Shine is on the back. And we just got 2 majorly effective scans that allowed us to gain control. People will traditionally look at, the food count and be like, oh, he was 30 ahead and now he's only 10 ahead. Again, we're not trying to do damage per se, we're trying to lock down this creep spread and maintain control. And what's so nice is that now we have a clear sense of the tech paths. There's the infestation pit. Our scans have kind of gotten some reveals there, so we're skipping all that turrety business. Because we have control, we can get add-ons. Cool. And now TaeJa's just literally going to continue to drill forward. As Zerg, you notice how difficult this makes your decision-making. Look at the vision that Zerg has, no more than this Xel'Naga Watchtower. Especially on a map like Ohana, Zerg wants creep spread to the left and creep spread to the right to watch for drops, or to watch for something as simple as Marines running from here to this base. He has none of that. So, TaeJa is going to ahead to do these sorts of drops. And again, if you want the drops to be more effective, reveal the attack first and then drop. If you want the attack to be more effective, reveal the drop first and then attack. Just as a general concept. And of course, if this would be the reveal of the army, so this will make the drop more effective. TaeJa, despite his ridiculous APM, oh, look at that, it's at 350 right now. He will make mistakes and fly past and go, oh. Medevac. Oh, expansion. Okay, cool. And this little play right here that TaeJa did, there's a couple of subtle elements to note about it. One is that he saw the infestors most recently right here. Aha, I see you, infestors. That helps a little bit. You don't have to do that. But also, look at this. He didn't do that much damage. He did 75 worth of direct damage to the drone, and maybe a couple hundred more by delaying the expansion. But he's not going to try to go for the main base. He's going to try to just keep having good control. So this is the kind of interesting moment. TaeJa is literally going absolutely maximum aggression on 3 bases. I probably would say that in 90% of games I would see another command center having started construction somewhere right now, especially considering Terran has been left alone. But God, no, TaeJa's just going maximally aggressive, like just 10 barracks aggression. How many factories? I think it's 2. Yeah. And keeping a healthy medevac count up, 6. So, here are some of these nice plays. This is the moment, most of all, that just tickles my fancy. Notice that TaeJa can begin his attack at this edge of creep spread, which is so much, which is just so much slowed due to all those early moves he did. And even so, He's setting himself up a nice line. He's going to send these Marines maybe up here to kill the expansion, but first he drills forward and he kills off creep. And he's trying to just box his opponent in a little bit. Just these wickedly good plays. Like, the amount of times that TaeJa is just scanning and killing off creep is staggering. And he's not even going for this expansion right now. So this is, I think, a standard play that's pretty neat. TaeJa is going to drop here and attack to the left side at the same time. But given the vision of Zerg, this is what Zerg sees. This is why these control plays that TaeJa is making again and again and again and again are so stupidly effective. See, this gets just mauled. This gets frickin' crunched. But TaeJa still gets the nice waltz up. This is just good positioning. Most of the units are staying back, barely getting in siege range of the hatchery, and mainly running forward, and still killing off creep tumors. What the hell? What the hell? Look at that aggressive killing off, yeah. So, okay, so since we spent the last 30 seconds watching that stuff, let's go ahead and hop into the TaeJa cam and see another cool play he does. This sort of play just helps guarantee the effectiveness of this attack. Nothing too complicated there.
Somebody, get me out of this mess.
Cool rally points.
We could use some help here.
Ready to roll out.
If you really want to be safe, you can do something like build a sensor tower here to watch this right flank, but it's not that necessary given that our rally point is within stim retreat range. And also, last thing to note, where are my medevacs? Where are my medevacs at? This little droppy thing, this will help get his Zerglings at the back there. And if his Zerglings are back here, then it also means his Zerglings can't be here getting ready for a mass counterattack. Maybe he can send 20, but this deals with 20.
We could use some help here.
Alright, cool. So we have this nice little setup here. We have this little spread.
Additional supply depots required.
And we have our guy at the front. And when this Zergling counterattack wants to try to happen, TaeJa is not trying to go for the jugular. He's just trying to control expansions. He's trying really hard to keep it 3 base versus 3 base. And all of a sudden, late in the game, now TaeJa is taking himself some more expansions. He brings his whole army to this side, largely to try to kill off creep tumors. There were some miscontrol elements in that battle. I will concede this point. TaeJa does a pretty nice job, but of course maintains the general focus of trying to kill off bases. And now TaeJa just goes into the general sort of retreatly sort of thing. And this is actually the moment when most Terrans spring into huge aggression. When they have their maxed army, they have like 70 Marines and 8 tanks and 4 medevacs, they have 3-3 done and 2's on the way. This is when most Terrans step into action. This is when TaeJa actually begins to be passive. Because once again, if we look back from Shine's perspective, Shine just does not have that much vision. I mean, obviously when he gets this, this will help, but look at the creep spread. This is his farthest out creep tumor. I mean, Shine's good. Shine's really good. Shine's a good player. I don't know why anyone would say he's not a good player, but he's just can't spread his creep. TaeJa's doing too good of a job. Oh, Mr. TaeJa. Oh. So I think I'll just hang out here for a bit longer and note that this is where TaeJa begins to play a little more defensively. He's sieging up. He's checking these outskirts with 1 medevac at a time. Because you want to be able to restrict these expansions, but you also are broke, almost broke. Yeah. And you need to get an expansion up. In the interest of time, I don't actually have that much more to say on this part, so we're just going to have a nice clean 20-minute part number 2, and when we come back to part number 3, we're going to wrap this game up and take questions. Great, cool, easy peasy. That was nice. That was nice. That was nice.